We'll start off with I there's a hobby shop down in Cedar Falls, Iowa, and they make whoops, they have Monday night and Wednesday nights they have shows that they put on YouTube where they sell stuff. And Monday night is usually crap night, and then they sell good stuff on Wednesday night. Well, on Monday night, when they're showing this garbage, I've seen the caboose. And I thought, that's really cool. And it's only $1 and somebody buys it. And because I'm not on the live thing, I look at it the next day. And lo and behold, sometime later, there's another one and somebody buys it. And I don't know what this thing is. And I finally ask on one of the group IO groups, and somebody looks it up. And sure enough, it's a Bachman caboose that came in a train set with this little guy that it can be triggered to pop out the door
Hmm.
for LCL or whatever he's supposed to be doing. So the door slides open, the little guy pops out, and the door goes into the door, goes shut. Um, and lo and behold, here a couple of months ago, well, I guess it's longer ago than that, right after Naperville, or even before Naperville,
Of
they had
course.
another, and it'd be the end of October, I guess. And lo and behold, I called them the next day, and nobody bought it, a whole dollar. So
Yeah.
we on the last Sunday of the month, there was a train show, and I had them bring the caboose to me. I don't hardly get in the place, and they're running over saying, "What's so special about that caboose? How come you want that caboose? That caboose costs $30. It's got to be worth something." So I give them a dollar, take the caboose, tell them it's just a weird caboose. You don't. It strikes my fancy, and so I bring the thing home, and I have a plan to try and turn this thing into something worthwhile. So I thought I'm not out much, only some time if it doesn't work. So the first thing I do is take that door that has the mechanism on it to move back and forth and file that all down so it's flat. And then, unfortunately, being the walls are so thick to this thing that if I were to glue it on behind the wall, the door on the other side is molded on the car, and it's only inset a little, maybe an inch or two in HO scale. So I ended up having to cut this door out square to fit in the opening. But my first plan was to just make it flat and glue it on behind the wall. So the first thing I need to do is get the paint off it. Scale Coat made the best paint thinner, but unfortunately, they're no longer with us. So I asked some friends of mine that were coming down that live up in the Twin Cities if they would go over to Scale Model Supply in St. Paul and set in for a Scale Coat. They didn't, but they recommended this AK Interactive paint stripper, and it works just as good. A much smaller container. They do sell larger ones. The problem with this thing is way out of scale, way oversized. So I decided I was going to cut out a portion of the height of the thing, and I decided to glue on a fence, for lack of a better term, a strip of styrene, and then run my saw along the top to cut off the roof, and then under it to cut off some of the sides. There's another photo of using, I don't know what these saws are called. I just call it a razor blade saw because it has teeth on a razor blade with teeth. I couldn't use that on the end, so I used a regular X-Acto blade to cut across the ends of the car. And then here I've removed the roof with all of the gimmick that goes inside there to make the door flip open and close. And you can see in this photo that the one on the other side is molded onto the body. Here I've made the second cut, and you can see the pieces laying there in front. And I've had this caboose, old number 5 there, since I was probably in high school. And I thought, well, I may end up having to cut the cupola off of this thing to use on the other caboose. And in the process, I destroyed some of it, but this just lays in a drawer anyway. And I decided not to use it. And then here it shows me fitting that door into that opening using a square to try and cut it, and then a true sander to try and make it fit better. So I was happy that I got a fairly decent fit on it, which is unusual for me. Caboose too wide, another big issue with the thing. So what I decided to do is I seldom measure anything. If I can't do it with my eye, it's time to quit. But what I did here is just cut out 2 board widths on the right side of the end to narrow the body up some. And this shows it glued back together again. I figured the joints in the ends, nobody's going to see them anyway. So now here's the roof and the cupola. And you'll notice that part of the cupola, the ends of the sides or of the ends of it are actually stuck onto the roof, which is not in the photograph. But I went ahead and cut the rest of the roof off. It kind of reminds me of a Viking roof that was popular back in the day, but not really. So I decided not to save it. Here's that cupola with part of it attached to the roof. And I got a little carried away at one end, you can see, and broke it. So I stuck a piece of styrene in there to reinforce the break. And amazed me, lo and behold, the cupola is the same width as the body now. That was a surprise. I thought, I have to make this thing wider or narrower or something, but it fit right on. So I just used some scrap styrene and made the roof for it. I also put a fascia board along the top of the sides and an awning over that door that was a separate piece that didn't have one. Mm-hmm. Now I put the rest of the roof of the cupola just setting in place. And I'm added all the grab irons that go on the thing. The commercial corner swoops, the commercial, the angled ones, the roof are commercial. A lot of people like to use eye bolts for that second connection there, that middle connection. But then you have 3 pieces that you have to try and fit into 3 holes. So basically what I do is just take a piece of that I've cut off, a little scrap of wire, and then stick it through from underneath, and it serves the same purpose. The ones on the sides of the doorway I just bent by eye. On the ends, the top ones are regular. I can't remember if they're regular ones, the 18-inch, or if I bent them. But the ones that the angled ones didn't fit. Their commercial come that way, but I've been better off trying to bend my own. In this photo, I'm starting to add some styrene strip to the roof for where the running boards are going to go as running board supports. Here I put some more down the center of the car, and then I filed everything so that they're fairly flat. And then I've had, if a freight car modeler never throws anything away, so I've always got extra stuff. I keep right on my desk is a half of a kit box that's just full of scrap styrene and wire, and that's where I get all this stuff from. But anyway, it's a couple of resin running boards that I've cut up and used on the roof here. I had to narrow the underframe to make it fit because I'd narrowed the body. I'm a much better demolition than I am at rebuilding. I could be a demolition guy long before I could be a finished carpenter. That's for sure. But anyway, this is my favorite tools for destroying things are my flush cut pliers and this chisel. And here's if you're gonna have a file, have a file. This is a man's file here. You you know you, you don't have to work at it all day. This is underneath the car anyway.
That looks like a rasp.
So
Almost.
it is. That's what you need. Takes the material off. And you can also see here that there were some big holes in the bolsters. So I filled those with a couple of tubes. So the correct trucks or real trucks will fit under there. I built up some of the underframe. I think these are channel. There's a couple of thick channels in the middle, and then the cross bracing is a smaller channel. And I filled in that spot where the tool locker was. And then here's the underframe after I put on the brake rigging. This part that I've got sort is all one piece of plastic for the most part. And I thought, well, shoot, that'll work for a caboose because you've got brake wheels at both ends for the emergency brakes. So you need the larger lever on the opposite end from the cylinder. And I think I can see I drilled a hole and added a piece of wire to that one also. And then the other parts are just out of the scrap box. And then here's the body after being primed. And I'm checking for coupler height to see if the body is going to work out the way it is. It's on shop trucks here. These are for control trucks. I've got it primed here. What I've done on the ends is I have a jig that I think came in a laser cut wood caboose kit for bending the railings at the ends. And then the stands for the brake wheels are Athearn and the brake wheels are KD Equipco. And I painted the body at this point, and I'm thinking to myself, I screwed up because it would have been much easier to paint the black and to mask than it would have been to mask the Tuscan. But anyway, here's the thing finished. Or it's not finished. I painted the black, in black. At least the roof of the cupola I could take off and paint that without having to mask the cupola. Now here I've masked off because now I have to go back and paint the running boards back to the body color. And that was easy. That was, sometimes years ago, used to go to a NMRA meet down in Des Moines back in the 70s. And they used to get movies from the NMRA on different things. And they had one on airbrushing that I remember distinctly watching. And they talked in there about the different angles and how to mask and different angles to spray at masking. But they always went with start with light and work darker. But sometimes it's easier to mask by doing the darker first and then the light. Another problem I have is when it comes to doing touch-up work. Under normal conditions, I would paint this yellow without the mask behind it, which is a piece of card, and then splatter all over the side of the car, then paint the side of the car and getting that color back on the railing, then painting the railing again, getting more on the car. And this goes on and on and on. So I thought this time I'm going to slide something under there and see if I can't solve some of that. So there was a little bit of problems, but not bad. Here I've added some weight to the caboose. The problem with cabooses in general is they're light, and the trucks are usually tucked under them quite a ways because of the end platforms. So when you use a sprue to uncouple them, a lot of times you lift up the back end and derail the thing. So I wanted to add enough weight to this thing to try and hold it in place, I hope. And then here the thing is put together with the decals. This railroad that if this thing is Iowa Central Northwestern was an actual railroad, or at least a paper railroad that built the branch line that I bought. They also built another branch line up in northern Iowa. And not sure if it was a real company or just a paper company used by the Iowa Central Railroad. But anyway, it was named the Iowa Central Northwestern. And then I came up with the tall corn route for a slogan. And the other side of the car, I think it's the other side probably. These are Katie trucks, and I hate Katie trucks. And I hate Katie wheels even more than their trucks. So
Yep.
they went, and Intermountain wheels went in them. And I don't think the Intermountain wheels, the shafts aren't long enough as the Katie's, and Reeboks isn't in business anymore. So the trucks kind of are riding basically on a rail. So I'm going to have to replace these trucks. And that is the end of the Caboose. So I took something that was a toy and made it into something kind of worthwhile. And there's,
Yeah.
I didn't keep track of the time, but this is another story that I thought I would add in just for the hell of it, because I couldn't find the pictures I wanted for the Ernal card. That'll be another show. But a friend of mine gifted me one of these Walthers SW1s. And I thought, well, that's neat. I can use that for Carlberg. And I gave the car to Jason Clockey, or the engine to Jason Clockey, to put sound in it. And he gives me his FaceTime call saying, I've got a Northwestern book, and I found that picture of that engine, 1274. It was built in 1953. And I said, uh-oh. You can see I put a couple of yellow lines here. Off the top of my head, not being a diesel guy, I knew that there were changes made in the bodies over the years. And the top line across the windows, I asked him, I says, are the windows on the front of the cab rectangular and not arched? He says, yep.
Yep.
I said, then you see the other line that goes from the top up by the stack back to the cab. I said, is that reduction between the engine compartment and the cab windows, is that a straight slope, or is there a flat in it? He says a straight slope. So yep. Walthers, like you, Walthers, screwed up and put the wrong paint job on the wrong body. So we have to either sell this thing or correct it. So I find this picture, and I check with Jason, and he says in his book, they actually have a picture of these things. These were an earlier order built in 1937. And the only real difference between the model and the real engine is the stack. Instead of a conical shaped stack, it's a straight pipe. So anyway, it's the engine. That's the way it's supposed to be. First thing I did was cut off the stack and replace it with a piece of tubing.
Yep.
Then I masked off the ends of the body and the ends of the ends of the frame, and then painted or scraped off or removed the lettering from the hood and the cab, and then sprayed the whole thing black, and then bought some micro scale decals. But anyway, the thing was not just good enough the way it came. Looking at the photo of the real engine versus the Walthers model, the stripes continued down into the wheel well, or the step well, and along the bottom, and the green went further back on the frame than you would think it would. I had the F there too. And then this is a picture of looking at it sort of from the back. And the other thing they did is they didn't do is they just left the roof green on the thing, and it's supposed to have the yellow stripes that go all the way up onto the roof too. So they're decals like the ones down on the wheel wells, or not wheel wells, but the step wells.
Hmm.
And then the logo or the emblem, ball and bar, and the numbers are from microscale steam decals. And that's that. That's all I got tonight.
Wow.
All
But
right,
that makes
nice
a
job,
really,
Clark.
I tell you what, you put Loc Sound proper sounding decoder in here and the scale sound system speaker. This sucker is the sweetest sounding engine and running that I think I have.
Wow.
Nice.
Whose decals did you use on the Iowa for the Caboose? Did you make them up or what?
Those are custom made
Okay.
by a fellow that wishes to remain anonymous.
Ah, ah.
All right.
You can see there's a boxcar there too. That started the whole story, the whole game years ago down at Cocoa Beach. I was talking at the time, there was a TV show on called The Iron Chef, and it was the Japanese version where they had just overdubbed English over the Japanese language. So their voices didn't, their mouths didn't match the word.
Very
The jig-
nice.
The jig you referred to for bending the caboose railings came from the M and St. L caboose kit. That's the only one that ever came with a jig for bending the railings from
Huh.
American Model Builders.
Whose
All
trucks
right.
you put on there, Clark? You got trucks chosen for it? He went away?
Did we lose Clark? No, there he is. Oh, I'm
Clark?
not frozen.
He was stunned into silence.
Yeah, he's not moving.
He was having some intermittent there a little bit, but
Yeah.
he said they were KD trucks. They looked like arch bars.
Yeah.
So
I
he
think
said he was gonna change them because if you
Right.
notice, he started with like a sprung truck. Then he went to, it had the caboose spring type in it. And then he still wasn't happy. I agree with him on KD trucks. I have a lot of them. I have to, because I used them for a lot of years, but after they wear for some period of time, it's best to throw them in the trash.
You have the sprung ones or the newer ones that aren't sprung?
Both. I used to use all KD, and during operating years, I'm finding a lot of the KDs are wearing, definitely have worn. And as now if I have any problem, they come off the car and replace them. Usually, I just right now use an Acura side frame with Intermountain 33-inch metal wheels, and that's a quick replacement. As long, it has to do until you decide what you really want for the real truck. But the KDs wear, the journals wear, and the wheels, they wear, and they start to pick up dirt after a period.
They're
I gotta
porous.
understand, some of mine have been running 15, 20 years. So we're at that point. That's being fair. And once we went to DCC, I don't know about the rest of you, but I hate sprung trucks. I used to think they were the cat's meow.
Oh, yeah.
Now, when you push down on a car to clean wheels, if you're I use a paper towel over track. Now those sprung trucks are a pain in the what, because a lot of times now you're catching the paper towel. So what was great at one time has become a problem in the future.
Yep.
Well, once were vices, now are habits.
There you go.
Lester, the KD wheels are made out of Zamac, as are the side frames, which of course is just a zinc alloy, but it's porous. It's porous and it picks up dirt like crazy.
Correct.
And they also
well,
have those. They also
and
have
that's
those
why the
nylon
journals are wearing
axles
so
that
bad.
wear. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's
and
the journal wear.
I started
Some of the KDs,
greasing them.
I was going to say some of the old KDs, once they really wear, that journal, they actually, you can see the V. It's where the bearing is wearing the journal right out.
Yeah, the axle does not have a nice micro finish surface to it.
Correct.
And that's why they wear.
I agree.
All right, well, it seems we've lost Clark. Dave, do you have something you want to present today?
If someone else has something, I'll defer to them, but I have a few pictures. So anyone else? No one's.
I can show you a transformer I was working on, but I just walk and I do this if you want to see a transformer.
Sure.
Oh, let me get it quick.
I'm assuming he's not referring to those toys that are, what they call
No,
transformers.
no,
Right.
We're gonna start calling Lester.
I'm working on loads right now. So, here's a huge one, but here's the transformer. I looked at the commercial guys and I thought the commercial guys are pretty expensive. You guys can spend the money. Cheapo here decided I got a lot of styrene. So I decided just to build, this is going to go on a Milwaukee flat. I can show you. I wrote this one up on the blog. If you read it, Steve Seeley built it. And this is where this transformer load will end up on that car. And the wires will hook under, like you see a lot of the prototype loads, they go up under that curved surface. So I still have to letter it with Westinghouse decals, but I looked at a couple Westinghouse transformers, 3 or 4 photos, and this is my kind of come up with my own design for a transformer. So like I say, and this one you got is nothing to do. That's the Chooch thing. And that's an Eastern Car Works 40-foot depressed center. And that one, there's no weight to this. It weighs 1.2 ounces. And this is solid lead base inside, and I've only got it up to 2.8 ounces. But I like to have all loads removable, so you can use it on any car. But anyway, that's what I'm putzing with.
How did you like the Eastern Car Works car to put together, that flat?
This one
No,
or the other?
No, the flat car itself, the depressed center flat car.
Oh, that I didn't build that. Steve
Oh, you're
Seeley,
lucky.
the gentleman in Rochester, he originally had this at the RPM in Chicagoland, and my mouth started to water, of course, and when I saw it, and so I begged Steve, could you build me another one? And he's the old engineering type, and he does a lot of scratch building. And he said he had a new design he wanted to try out. And first he said, no, I really don't want to build a second one. Then he finally called me and said, okay, because I came up with a second design. So he built this one for me. Okay.
Oh, nice.
And I have that on the blog. If you look at the blog, Steve, all of Steve's notes and how he put it together, it's a complex model. And because, for example, see these bends in here, these bends here, he cut tubes at the proper angle to get the tubes, to get flat styrene to connect to the tubes that he cut, 3/8 inch tube, and then he cut them to get these round pieces on so it's a fairly complex model. I'd rather have somebody else build it than attempt it myself. So like I say, you can read what Steve did, and I thought he did one hell of a job with it. I thought he did very nice work on it.
Yep, he did. Well, for show and tell, I thought with the current situation,
There you go.
I found I had a kit for one of these, and it's got these doors that are apparently Walthers thought they could hinge them, and so they could swing out. I don't like their mechanism, so I went to bed last night trying to figure out how I could hinge that door on there, and got to thinking of a brass tube and some wire. So yeah, this is sitting on the workbench. By tomorrow, I will really need it based on what they're telling me on the news, but I think it's going to be on the workbench for a little while.
Well, you can make those Walters hinges work now, Doug. they will work.
Uh,
But it's much easier. What you're gonna do is better, but you can make the Walters hinges work.
Hmm.
I know, I got one on over by the Roundhouse in Minneapolis.
Yeah, well, I looked at the diagram they sent with the kit and I thought they were pretty poor on the instructions for the hinge system.
And the worst kit I have ever built in my life was the Red Ball snowplow.
Oh,
I don't know if any of you remember the Red Ball kits. A lot
Yeah.
of them were a block of wood, basically. And in
Yeah.
the snowplow kit, they gave you a flat piece of styrene and said, here is the plan to form the blade. And that's what you had. No lie. I've got it. I built it. But it's the worst kit I've ever done because you had to form the blade out of flat plastic.
Oh, man.
Welcome back, Clark.
Yeah, I'd lost connection, but I'm back now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we saw the end of your presentation, so
Yeah, I figured that was good enough.
yeah, you didn't fall off until that, so it wasn't like Lester that one time where he was.
I was
going-
thinking of that, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I use a second computer now all the time.
Right, he's got a monitor.
Yeah.
But thanks again, both of you guys and Doug. Dave, you got something you want to show us?
Let's give it a try.
All right. There we go.
Are you seeing a large image?
Yes, we are.
Okay,
Yes,
well, then a minor miracle has occurred. So, basically, this almost keys into the theme of getting freight cars from someone else that you don't really think of you have a use for. So what we're going to be seeing is freight cars that are used as things other than freight cars. So we're just going to run through these very quickly. This former railroad tank car was in the municipal yard of the city of Rochelle.
Hmm.
Well, I was hopeful too soon. I can't seem to progress. Oh, no, I can progress. This vintage Santa Fe reefer was, it looks like it's in decent shape and you'd think some museum would like to have owned it, but the other end had been torched off and it was just used for storage in the little hamlet of Edelstein, Illinois. You may have heard of Edelstein Hill, which is a popular railfan location. I intended to go back and take more pictures of it and it was gone. So it was on its way out.
I've watched the pickers before, and they'll go out in the Southwest, and these reefers people use for storage out there. You see them quite a bit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've seen them on Amtrak going on the Southwest Chief out in the boonies.
I did take a few. I'm not going to show them because I didn't add them to the thumb drive, but you can still see the lettering for what kind of car it was, and I think it dated from the 20s, and you can see that it had polling pockets. So this is in Milwaukee's Butler Yard. The Northwestern was fond of using retired covered hoppers in sand service, and they'd paint them in that gray with red end paint scheme. And I'll show you another one a little bit later. I don't know if that car is still there. I think it might be gone too.
Yeah, it's gone. How long ago was that? Quite a
Let's
while
see.
ago.
I would guess this might have been whenever the Northwestern Historical Society came to Milwaukee, and that might have been 1988.
Yeah.
That's what the caption says on the photo.
Oh, you're right.
The yard 1988.
1988.
Oh,
Well, in
Me
spite of the
too.
in spite of that caption, I still insist it was 1988.
Oh.
This is from a slight distance. This was a series of old retired 40-foot boxcars, also at Butler Yard in Milwaukee, that were used as storage. The Northwestern did that a lot. You can also see a piece of panel track just sitting.
Yep.
This is not actually consistent with my theme for this, but this is a reuse because I think it was actually originally a Rock Island plow that used what they called haystack low steam locomotive tender.
You brought a
Yep.
loaf,
Yep.
Yep.
loaf of bread.
And I did not take this picture. It was taken in Chadron, but it was part of a slide set of Chicago Northwestern slides that were nonetheless being sold by the Milwaukee Road Historical Association. This is in Old Line at the car repair shop there, and it's an old railroad tank car which has been mounted onto a flat. I don't know
Interesting.
exactly the purpose for it, but I did take a close-up photo of how it's mounted in case I ever want to do this. Here's in some ways a more interesting and rare kind of covered hopper with those side panels that are pushed out to increase capacity. This is in Chadron. It's no longer the Northwestern, but it was the Northwestern when this car was parked on this siding. So this is definitely in sand service.
Yeah, we used to have one of those here in town too, only it was just black.
Yeah, yeah. It was a black one in Waukegan,
Oh,
like that.
They were
this-
originally for coal service for their locomotives.
oh,
They put the roof on them. They were
Okay.
originally open hoppers.
yeah,
Panel
and
side.
somebody makes the plastic castings that you can convert a
Rick.
normal hopper into one of these.
Yeah,
uh,
Rick's makes those.
Rix,
Yeah.
RIX,
do.
Rix.
Yep.
Theirs are made for a two bay. You would have
Yeah.
to buy several sets to get that straight edge along the bottom.
This is also at Chadron. So I assume these were originally Northwestern cars.
That's fantastic.
The
They
I should
put
have
elec-
taken I should have taken pictures of every car they had there.
They put electricity in that single sheet car.
Hmm.
That's
Well,
Yeah.
fantastic.
you probably would want lights inside if it's being used for storage.
Yeah.
But it looks like you can see through it near the top. That upper third. Doesn't it look like you can see right through the car? Or is that just,
I
you
think
think you're
that's a-
seeing?
I think that's a fascia board.
Yeah, it might be a shadow.
It's a, yeah.
Okay.
Shadow, yeah. Yeah.
It still has a running
optical
board on it.
delusion.
That is fantastic.
But it's an interesting single sheath car, that's for sure. And it's got the original old door.
Yep.
This was also at Butler Yard in, I assume, fuel storage or oil storage. Interestingly, usually when they do this, they paint out the reporting marks, but I guess they couldn't be bothered in this instance. You can see that it's strapped to those timbers. This is in Compton, Illinois. It wasn't open, but it had been a restaurant, a little cafe.
Yep.
And the last time I drove through Compton, it was gone. But somebody at some point put horizontal corrugated siding on it. If you look,
Mm.
yes. So it gives it sort of that trolley diner look to it. But this is a fairly recent picture. This was the Northwestern Historical Society meet in Sioux City, Iowa, and South Sioux City, Nebraska. And out in the farm field was this covered hopper. It almost looks like it's being held up with 55-gallon drums, but I can hardly believe.
It
Yep.
is.
And
It
the same,
is. Yeah,
and the-
it is.
and the
That'd be-
same, and so I don't think I would want to go crawling under that, but the same farmer seems to have made good use of a coil steel
Yep.
car cover in the back.
In the back.
What
Oh,
he
yeah.
what
Oh,
he
yeah.
has, yeah.
Looks
Yeah,
like
that-
maybe as a calf shed, he's probably cut open one side.
That
Right,
might be.
Right, yep.
Those
Yeah.
55-gallon drums are filled with concrete.
Mhm.
Yeah, they would have to be.
I
Yeah,
expect.
that car is an
Yeah.
NAHS, and the emblem is North American, is what it says on the side.
Mhm.
That'd be easy modeling project though.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
4 drums.
And
in
and you
And,
look at the old John Deere tractor sitting to the right of it.
Yeah.
You know, that guy is he uses anything he can get his hand on, it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he also has one of those cyclone fence type corn cribs.
Yep,
Yes, yep,
yep, the wire
Check.
crib.
yep.
Yeah, this was, we didn't go to see this. We had a little, we had a little train ride as part of the convention. So this was just something out of the passenger car window.
Mhm.
Northern Illinois, or rather, I should say the area around Galesburg, Illinois, which I guess is west central. A lot of farm boxcars. And this is one of the more intricate ones where they actually shaped the barn around the car.
That's fantastic.
Oh, by the way, that's the Erdl car that I'll be talking about. Nice promo there.
Well, if all else fails, there is a use for that car. It has nothing to do with riding the rails.
Nope, just set it on some barrels and build a shed around it.
That's great.
Here's a close-up.
Yeah,
Still got the tack boards.
looks like it's still got a running board on it.
In Williamsfield, Illinois, was another farm boxcar, but here they put a rather nice window into the door. And they seem to have actually given a little bit of paint.
Did that say Historical Society on it anywhere?
The car?
Yeah,
No, it was in the middle of a farm field.
okay, okay. There's a single sheath boxcar that is a historical society for some township over out west somewhere. I thought maybe that was it.
I don't believe so. This is because it actually, I didn't see any ready access to it. More recent cars. In fact, these look like surprisingly recent cars, but this is in Streeter, Illinois. And it's a string of them being used as storage. And they're de-trucked and mounted on concrete pillars.
Yeah, it even got a safety railing up there.
Yep, so a guy can run from one to the other. And I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like this.
Yeah.
Once again, I was in Streeter not too long ago and drove around, and maybe I wasn't driving in the right place, but I didn't see these, so these might be gone too. This was in Galesburg. I know this to be gone. This was a storage for a Best, whatever that's called, one of those do-it-yourself hardware stores. And but I believe, and Ken, maybe you can correct me, I think this is near where the depot would have been for the Fulton County narrow gauge.
Yep, that's right. That's where it was. Yep. Yep, that's where it was.
But I don't think this has anything to do with the Fulton County narrow gauge. This was probably a former CB&Q car.
Yeah, that's my guess. With those little additions, those plates,
Yeah.
gussets on the top.
Oh.
That's a Q
yeah.
thing.
It's got
Oh.
it's got the faded orange maintenance away paint to it.
Well, you know, it although the door looks like it's a little deteriorated, it was basically in pretty decent shape, and then suddenly it was gone, and I have a feeling it was trashed,
Yeah.
which is kind of too bad.
It looks like the wooden door was there and just covered with a sheet metal,
Or
maybe
is that
corrugated
sheet-
iron.
Is that sheet metal or was that plywood that started to warp badly?
I would bet it's sheet metal curled up. Somebody's caught it with something.
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay,
Corrugated sheet metal, I think so too.
Somebody backed into it.
Yeah.
Well, it's a pretty busy place. The store is still in business, I think.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it.
No
Do it,
trespass.
do it best, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, do it best. Yeah. This is a true farm boxcar. And I obeyed the no trespassing sign that they've tacked onto it. There's no need to run electricity to this car because plenty of light comes through the end. So this, I did not record, this might be Lomax, Illinois. It's where the old spur of the TP&W met up with Santa Fe Main Line into Fort Madison.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that. It still has one roof grab down there on the end.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Still in
Yeah,
it.
yeah, it's pretty good.
And what looks like a unidentified flying object in the sky was a speck on it wasn't a speck on my lens, it was a speck on the mirror inside the camera, and an entire day's worth of photographs all had that speck on them.
Oh gosh.
Jeez.
That's kind of the story of my life. Actually, though, when you look at the door on this looks in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
Is that a
Oh, yeah.
digital camera?
It's only got one hole on the bottom left. One
Dave,
board.
was that shot with a digital camera?
Yes.
That speck is on your sensors, not on the mirror.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
Well-
it's got to get cleaned off.
It disappeared when I opened. I took the lens off and just blew hard with my mouth, and it disappeared.
Oh, that's a lovely way of fixing things.
The speck is probably still in the camera somewhere, but at least it's not showing up on the pictures. So this is on the Wisconsin. This is on the Wisconsin and Southern Yard in Horicon, Wisconsin. This is a former Milwaukee Road Yard, but I have a feeling that car was placed there by the Wisconsin and Southern. So it's the car is storage, and these shelves are kind of leaning against it. It's a former Milwaukee Road car.
It's a PS1.
Yeah,
Boxcar.
yeah, Pullman standard car, yeah.
Yeah, you can see the Milwaukee Road letter. I didn't include that on this, but you can see the Milwaukee Road lettering on the other side of the car. We were there for a yard tour, so I did not need to trespass to get this picture. We were invited guests. This is in
On that
this is-
back one, do you know what was on the water tank, on the tank behind the car? Anybody know what that, is that
Looks like-
cement?
I think it's
Looks like
sand.
Cement.
Looks
I'm
like,
sorry?
says cement.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the lettering, the bottom of the
Right.
lettering, it looks
Right.
like it's meant
Where are we looking?
up on the
Right at
The
the top
hopper.
of the slide on the tank.
on
behind
the yellow
car.
the
Which-
yellow side of the tank, just
Yep.
at the very top of the photo.
Right.
Oh,
And I'm wondering if the car did something with that cement tank originally, probably.
But let's
Okay.
see how smart we really are and see if you can tell what the letters are above cement. Mm-hmm.
Well,
Well-
then it says I'm viewing David Nelson's screen, so I'm not
yes,
sure.
I see. I can't see that, so it's covered by some wording on
Just
mine.
had a one more comment. Does everybody see a pipe coming out of the bottom of that yellow, let's say the
Yes.
hopper portion? Doesn't
Yeah,
it look
black.
like it might go to that boxcar?
No, I'm
Possibly.
thinking that with all the lights on it, it's a sand tower. for
It
engine
is.
Service.
It is. It's for sand.
Okay,
Oh.
okay.
But what it might have been before it was converted into a sand tower, it does look like it was something from a ready mix plant or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, one of those portable.
Well, if I think of it, I'll try and find if I have other pictures of it, and we can look at those some other time. This was the yard office for the Rock Island Railroad in LaSalle, Peru, Illinois.
Mm.
And this was also there in LaSalle, Peru, also along the former Rock Island, former railroad tank car, which was obviously dented at some point. Oh, here's another view of that car. This is what it looked like the last time I saw it. I think it's now gone also. But when I went inside the car, and yes, I was trespassing, they had stacks of Rock Island uh, 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 train orders, all neatly wrapped in string, and bundles of tickets from the from the test, the scale, railroad scale, and all of them stunk to high heaven. I took a few home and kept them in plastic bags with baking soda for about a year. And frankly, they still stink to high heaven. But because everything was wet and kids had trashed the place. This is something familiar to Milwaukeeans because this was
Milwaukee Road.
at the Burnham
Okay.
Street Yard. This is a former steam locomotive tender with a chunk of what I believe to be an HH class Elko stuck on top.
Okay, Clark, that's your next project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, various people have told me various things about these things. Some say they were for oil, for fuel, a portable fuel. Others said it was for water. But what you can see now is that there is yard air attached to it.
Yep. That is wild.
Yeah.
That used to be this was the sort of thing where because you saw it every time you went there, nobody was taking any pictures of it.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, there was one at Stoll Yard too.
Was it a different one or was it the same one?
I could have been the same one. I don't know. That end railing on there looks like it came off an Elko, but
Well, it has a look. I think it's from an Elko HH, of which the
Yeah,
Milwaukee
I'd say so.
yeah,
Milwaukee Road certainly had a few.
yeah.
Anyway, there's your kit bash if anyone wants to have a go at it. Because you've got one frame on, you've got the locomotive frame on top of the tender frame.
I think
So-
you'd have to scratch those trucks. Those are pretty unique.
Yeah.
Either that or take trucks and just sand them flat. If you've got a auto rack and it's smashed up and you want to make some use of the remaining little piece, that roof on the roundhouse in Old Wine is a little bit of an auto rack car.
Yeah.
This is in Fond du Lac.
No, I like it.
And there was an article in Model Railroader where a modeler from Japan scratch built this car in HO, including with all the railings and framing and everything.
That's a nice article.
Wow.
That helicopter pilot's brave.
So that's a little project for you. I don't have the patience anymore. And I think that's it.
Pretty good.
Those were great.
Very nice, David. Thank
Yep.
you very much. And thank you, Clark. And thank you, everybody else who did show and tell, Lester and Doug. And we will, next week, we're looking for a presenter. So if you have something, let me know. Otherwise, on the 25th, we will have Jared from down south presenting on the Alma branch. He is nearing completion. And so we look forward to that. He presented that at Cocoa Beach, I believe, this year, and will reprise it for us. Thanks for coming, everybody. Have a great night. We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.